Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It has been a bit of a while. We did have international break, so that's come and gone. So that means Serie A is back this weekend. I hope everyone did have a safe and blessed Easter weekend if you were celebrating. But that also meant we did have the inclusion of Serie A, and all games were on the Saturday. Lots of excitement to come back to this weekend after a long delay of more a long wait and anticipation of club football, because we do know, as much as we enjoy international football, we do enjoy the club football much more. But anyways, before we even get into Serie A, like I said, we did have international breaks. So that means we did have Italy games. So they had 3 games for their World Cup qualifiers. They played against Northern Ireland and then 2 games away to Bulgaria and Lithuania. Italy winning every single match 2-0. 3 consecutive games without conceding, 3 straight victories. So it's in a very important step in securing qualification to the World Cup, especially last time out we did not qualify, so this is a huge momentum booster. One thing to notice too is, as much as we did beat these teams, actually Lithuania did give Italy lots of problems. The keeper really standing on his head that game. But in that sense, it's the scoring up front with Immobile and Belotti. Yes, they did. They only scored a combined total of 3 goals. I think was it 3 goals? I think it was 3 goals. I could be wrong. 2 goals, 1 goal, but I know they each at least score a goal apiece. But anyways, we needed some more scoring up front if we hope to do better, if we can qualify for the tournament, because that's the one thing that will definitely come to us, because if we can't score, how are we going to win? And we can't always rely on other players to get the victory for us, if you know what I mean, right? Because we need those 2 players to really carry over their form from Torino and Lazio, and to really help the Azzurri go far in the competition. But first off, they need to help us qualify for that tournament. But at least we got to a good start, winning all 3 games, topping the group. Switzerland is second with 6 points, but they do have a game in hand. But again, a good start for Roberto Mancini's men. So anyways, now that that's come and gone, we're going to talk about Serie A. And there's definitely some interesting results this weekend. And the table really starts to shape up now because of how these teams are doing. Some teams really carrying the momentum. Other teams are starting to crumble under the pressure. So we're going to get right to that right now. So April 3rd was all the games, like I said, all on the Saturday. We haven't had that many games in one day in a very long time, and a lot of them all at once. But anyways, opening up round 29, we had Milan Sampdoria. This game finished in a 1-1 draw. Milan getting an equalizer late on, and once again, their poor home form continues. A disappointing draw that really, you could say, put a dampen on their Scudetto chances. But right now, they need to focus on top 4 if they hope to qualify for Champions League next year. We'll move on to the 9 a.m. matches. So there are quite a few games here. There was 7 games happening at this time, so quite a lot. We had Sassuolo Roma. This finished in a 2-all draw. We had the Napoli Crotone. Napoli, after giving up a 3-1 lead, managing to beat the last place side 4-3, continuing their good run of form. Lazio hosted Spezia. This finished in a 2-1 victory for the host. And Daniele Verde scoring one of the goals of the season with an absolute beauty of a bicycle kick. If you have not seen it, be sure to check it out. Genoa hosting Fiorentina. This finished in a 1-all draw. We had Cagliari hosting Verona, where the visitors took the victory 2-0. We had Benevento hosting Parma. This finished in another 2-all draw. And then the last 9 a.m. game was Atalanta Udinese, where this finished 3-2. Next at midday, we had the Derby della Mole between Torino and Juventus. Now, this almost ended in an upset, but this finished as a 2-2 draw. Ronaldo scoring the equalizer for the Bianconeri. At 2:45 to end off round 29, we had Bologna Inter. The Nerazzurri managed to take away the victory and secure their 9th consecutive victory in Serie A. They are really starting to pull away with the Serie A title, and again, they also have the game in hand, so if they win that, they could really be fine and have one hand on the trophy at the end of the season. Now, before we talk about a couple of the results here, what are your thoughts on the matches? What did you think? Did your team get a victory this weekend, or did a team pull off an upset? Be sure to comment below and let me know. So the first discussion topic right now will be between Milan and Sampdoria. Now, already, Milan's home form wasn't that good. They've only won once so far in 2021, and that was against Torino back in February. So one win in almost 3 months is not a very good sign at all. And plus, they never play the best at 6:30 in the morning. So that was already a big sign there. But again, their home form continued. They still were missing quite a few players as well. Some of their players, especially that they do have a lot of international players, they did feel a little jaded as well. But Sampdoria, Ranieri's men, they're in mid-table. They had nothing to play for. They're pretty much out of European contention. They're not going to get relegated, so they're playing with no fear. And they really had their front foot flying. They did seem to play much better throughout the match. They did deserve to get a goal here, and they only got the goal because of a huge Hernandez back pass that Quagliarella took advantage of and popped it over Donnarumma. Donnarumma caught in no man's land, but not. I wouldn't say it's entirely his fault, but that's not the first time Hernandez has made those mistakes and costed Milan a goal as much as he's definitely got them one. But they had to tie late on because of a Jens Petter Hauge goal late in the match. Sampdoria were even reduced to 10 men, and Milan could not take advantage of it. Basically, Hauge's shot in like the 80th minute was their first shot on net. But Pioli really has to get something going, really have to find some motivation. It's very difficult for his players to find it. And Milan actually have, I was reading the stat, and they have the worst point differential between home and away form. They've won 14 more points away than they have at home, and that's the worst, you could say, differential out of the top 5 leagues. So that is really showing signs that they cannot, for some reason, play at the San Siro, and I can't imagine how the fans would react in those circumstances if the stadiums were open. Could you imagine poor home form and you have 80,000 fans jeering at you throughout the match, hoping to come and cheer you on, but your team can't seem to win in front of you. So that is very disappointing. And as much as they were looking towards the Scudetto, they really have to stay on their objective of qualifying for the Champions League. That is their objective, just maintaining their top 4 spot, considering teams under them are really starting to pick it up now, and they have to find a way to maintain positive results and stay in that top 4. They only have the head-to-head out of one of those challenging teams right now, so that is a plus. But especially they have 3 huge games still left in the season in their 9 games against Lazio, Juve, and Atalanta, so that will be tough. But the thing is, they're playing away. What Milan will show up in those away games? So it'll be tough to see how they go going forward. But still lots of work, and Pioli will hope to recover a lot of his players. Rebic should come back from suspension. Ibrahimovic, who played his first international games in so long, for his age, it's starting to catch up to him. But they don't have Rafael Leao, no Mandzukic to help you out up front either. So it's tough asking for them. No Brahim Diaz as well. So they were missing a lot of players who could really give them a hand up front in the scoring department. Next game I do want to talk about is Sassuolo Roma. The Giallorossi were leading at halftime, but only pulled away with the victory. At one point, they were close to securing a 3-1 lead, but that did not happen. And Raspadori scores in the 85th minute to secure De Zerbi's men a draw. Now this is poor for Roma, as now they've slid from third place to seventh. They're not that far out now from the Champions League, but they don't have a head-to-head over Milan. They don't have a head-to-head over Napoli. They don't have a head-to-head over Juve. Right now, they're down 4-1 to Atalanta, so it depends how they do in their next game against them. So it's very tough ask for them. Again, they're only 5 points out of a Champions League spot, but it is very disappointing the amount of. It's very disappointing to see them crumble like that. They have not won in their last 3 games now. So the pressure is starting to get on Fonseca now to qualify for the Champions League after such a promising start and being in the top 4 for so long, being behind Inter and Milan. Roma really have trouble on their hands right now. I know they do have injuries on their hands, that does not help either. But it's tough to say because Milan with injuries, they still managed to find a way through. Roma is not getting that same break going forward. They're not clinching the victories when they can. They're not holding on to the leads. It's very tough. So I know, again, can't really always blame with the keeper. Paulo Lopez seems to be picking it up a bit, but you still can't blame him for everything. But there's still lots of work that Roma still need to do. It's tough because especially that those results against the top 6 sides did hurt them, but they need to get results against the teams under them. They disappointed against Parma, where they lost against them, and that was their first one in like 20 matches. So that was a disappointing result for the Giallorossi. Then they go against Napoli and lose to them. So if you can't beat those those teams that are under them, then it's very difficult for them to get anything going forward. Let's move on to another topic now, and that's of Napoli, who are one of the best teams in form right now. They have now won 4 games straight, undefeated in their last 5, and they are really getting back the momentum now. They have a lot of players healthy, finding their form once again, and a huge result against last place Crotone. And as much as they almost did let it slip, they managed to find the victory in the end. Osman actually scoring once again as well. And one thing I do want to say with Crotone is Simi. He scoring what? I think he scored 2 goals this game. 2 goals. Anyways, he's scoring again. He scored his 15th goal of the season, and I really keep saying this with my dad. Why the hell was Simi not starting under Stroppa? If he had started those games where he was benched, he probably would have found goals and probably would have helped Crotone do much better. But now the task is getting harder for Crotone to pick up results and to ensure safety. I know around this time they did manage to pull away with a comeback and be and not be relegated, but still it is a very tough ask for them now. But with Simi in form, hopefully he can add more goals for them and perhaps get the Calabrese side to stay in the top flight. But Napoli now, going back to them, they, again, like I said, are finding their form. Gattuso's starting to get things together. It still questions whether or not he will stay as their coach next season. But if he can help them secure Champions League place next year, that will be huge for them and ensuring them to remain competitive. But now they're really starting to flow together. They're just tied for that 4th spot right now, with a huge game against Juve coming up, so that will really help shake things up at the top. Like I said, we do have that can really change things because Napoli only lead Juve by a 1-0 on the head-to-head right now, and they are playing in Turin So it'll be very interesting to see who can get the victory, especially with how bad in form Juve have been as of late. Uh, so gonna be something to look forward to, and uh, I'll talk about more of that later on, actually. So, Lazio, like I said, winning a crucial victory for them if as it maintains their hopes for top four finish. They have now won three straight. So that is picking up the momentum. They are 4 points out of the Champions League spot, also with Napoli and Juve's game in hand. So that does depend on how they do coming this week. But if they can continue to pick it up, they could really put in a battle for um, that fourth and final spot. But it's tough to say because if Milan doesn't continue their form, they could drop out as well. But they can't be doing that because if they don't secure a Champions League finish, failure for them. But still, with Lazio, considering the slow start they had, they're really starting to get themselves now. They don't have again, especially with a lot of these teams not having any European competitions. They're more fresh. The only team now is Roma, so that would be more difficult for them. But a lot of these teams without Europe are starting to find themselves again, starting to be more consistent because our players are more fresh going into each game. Atalanta as well, they managed to steal a victory. Muriel scoring 2 goals against his former side, his 18th of the season, which is incredible. Most of those games coming as a substitute, but Atalanta coming with a huge victory. They move into third, also pending how I know I'm always relating back to the Juve Napoli game, but it is crucial because that does still shake up the top four. But still, they move in just 2 points behind Milan. And that is crucial because they want to go for a third straight Champions League campaign. And by doing that, they need to keep on winning and going against a struggling Udinese side. It is huge for them to do so. So very, very big result for them. Muriel continuing his fine form. And speaking of Atalanta as well, there's a bit of friction between Gasperini and Ilicic, and it's already rumored that Ilicic will be on the move, and already rumored to Milan for 5 million. 5 million for Ilicic. That would be a steal. What do you think of that move too? Be sure to let me know what you think of Ilicic to Milan, because that would be huge for the Rossoneri as well. But anyways, let's see if Atalanta can continue depending on how the teams under them are doing. Now let's move on to the bigger games. Well, yeah, I would say one of the bigger games of the weekend, which was the Derby della Mole between Torino and Juve. Now, Juve, after that disappointing defeat to Benevento, and I don't know, most of you were aware, so Bonucci tested positive after coming back from international break, and then I can't remember which player it was, but 3 players were suspended by the club for hosting a party. Dybala, McKennie, and Arthur. I believe McKennie and Dybala were injured anyways. But missing 3 players plus um, Bonucci out. Buffon also suspended by the league because of blasphemy done in against Parma way back when. So they were missing a lot of players, and it kind of did show. Torino, Juve started brightly, but yeah, they grabbed the lead. Thanks to Chiesa, who has been in fine form for Juventus. He has been one of the more consistent players throughout the season. But I don't even know what to say about Torino's goals. It's not that they're more on goalkeeping errors and Juventus errors in the sense. First goal was hard shot by Mandragora, former Juventus player, that Szczesny should have parried out into away from the net instead of right in front of him, where Sanabria headed it home. But it was still a good job, good header by Sanabria, as he had to get up high enough. He had to control his header to not head it over the net. So it was a well put header in that sense. And then Sanabria took it after Kulusevski for the second goal, misplaced a terrible back pass. Sanabria took full control of it, but that Szczesny helped put it into his own net, and that At that point, you might have well just put your third keeper Pinsolio in that. He probably would have done much better. Also speaking, Cuadrado, very lucky not to get sent off for one tackle. He went flying in, left his feet. If he made contact with the Torino player, he definitely would have seen red. But if you think it is a red, be sure to let me know what you think. But I think he only got the yellow because he didn't really hit the player as much. The momentum, I think, probably took out the Torino player, or just the way the Torino player was in his movement, but he didn't make full contact with him. That's why it's a yellow. Maybe that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But Ronaldo managing to score a goal later in the game, originally called out due to offside, but VAR overturned the decision, so it was a very tight call. But Torino almost managed to get a famous victory over Juventus. Now Pirlo is really in trouble because they have now not won in their last two games against sides they should have beaten in Benevento and Torino. Pirlo does have his game against Napoli. If he can win that, he may have a chance, but I don't think he will last much longer. At this point, you put Sadi back in charge. You give the assistant coach a chance. Like, who do you give uh, the helms to if you fire Pirlo? Because do you risk putting another one on the payroll? Do you um, bring back Sadi, who only, like he did disappoint in other games? But it's hard to say because there were a lot of asks for Juve this year, but then again, you don't properly change the midfield. Yeah, you got Arthur, but he hasn't really settled. You still have Rabiot, Ramsey, who haven't really performed on such high wages as well. You have a coach who you expect to do all this for you, who's in their first year of coaching. Like, it just, he wasn't even supposed to coach the first team, and you like, to me that just doesn't make sense. Again, and Ronaldo, who you bought to win the Champions League, can't perform on the biggest stage. And a lot of games this year, he has not performed when he needed to. Like this game against Torino, uh, he really didn't do anything the whole game. Uh, he really just showed up for the goal and saved them. So it's very tough to say how much he's done, right? Like, I don't know. But what am I to say? I know I'm not a Juventus fan, but it does really look like their reign in Serie A is coming to an end, and it has been shown even last year with Sadi, they have not really looked the best. If it wasn't for the COVID break with the amount of depth Juve had, they would have probably lost out to Lazio. I feel Lazio probably would have carried on the momentum and taken and would have secured themselves a victory for the Scudetto. But lots of ask for Juve going forward. Torino do get a point, but they would have preferred the extra two. Would have put them away against Cagliari, who have now lost three straight and uh, um, have not won in their last four. So that would have been crucial for Torino, especially in their quest for safety. Just quick nod even on to Inter, who again got their crucial ninth victory in a row and moving forward into their Scudetto chances again with a game in hand against the Sassuolo. They hope to continue their run. They're 8 points ahead of Milan, 10 points ahead of Atalanta. So they are really starting to coast away, and Conte really getting everything together. He's starting to say Inter are more likely to win the Scudetto now. So very tough for them to lose it at this point. They are in full control. They can just keep on going and going. So we'll see what the Nerazzurri can do at the end of the season. So those were my thoughts on some of the games that happened on this Easter weekend. What did you guys think of the results? Did I miss anything? Be sure to let me know. If you guys agree of what I said about some of these teams, be sure to comment below. Let me know. So we will go on to the standings. So the top end did shake up, but we're going to start once again on the bottom. Crotone, Parma, Cagliari still the bottom three teams. Crotone is still sitting at 15. Parma at 20, Cagliari at 22 points. Torino 2 points off of Cagliari, but they are a game in hand. They still have to play because Lazio because of their game as well, game in hand as well. You have Spezia, who are 7 points out from Cagliari, so that is a bit of distance for them. Benevento too are quite a distance, 8 points away, but the way they're going, they could maintain safety. So it's really between Torino, Cagliari to get that last, maybe that third spot. But if Parma somehow managed to sneak out, and that would be interesting for them considering they had not won in 20 games. So a very tight affair at the bottom here to see who will get relegated. Now moving up to the top of the table, things are starting to really take shape, but it's still all to play for most teams, especially for the top four, as it keeps getting tighter and tighter, with many teams, with some teams dropping points and others picking up crucial points. Like I've said before, Roma have slid all the way down to 7th. They're sitting just a point behind their city rivals, but Lazio do have that game in hand against Torino to play for. Roma at 51 in that 7th spot, so that does mean Europa League playoff round, but that would be disappointing for them considering that they had the third spot for so long. But it also depends too, because Juve and Atalanta are both in the Coppa Italia finals. But either way, especially if both of them finish in the top 6, that would open up another spot for the top 6. But I think that does depend. Actually, I think it does. If both of them qualify for a European spot, it does open up a automatic spot for the 7th spot. So that would basically be crucial for Roma, as they wouldn't have to go through playoffs, but they would not want to go. And again, they're not too far out from Champions League. As we move up, like I said, Lazio at 52, a point ahead of Roma because and also with the game back. We move on to 5th with Napoli really picking it up now. They're at 56 points, tied with Juventus, both teams a game in hand with their game to play this later this week. So that will be a very tight affair because whoever wins can leapfrog Atalanta and move into that 3rd spot. Atalanta at 58 points, 2 points behind Milan. And also with the winner of Juve Napoli, they're going to go a point behind Milan, really put the pressure on them. Like I said, Milan with 60 points, Inter at 68 with a game in hand, and Inter really taking it away at this time. It really be hard for them to lose the Scudetto at this point. They really have to falter hard, and for other teams really to pick it up. Milan, if they want to secure that top 4, really have to start picking up victories at home and away. Start picking it up if they hope to find anything, and especially with 3 crucial games still play in 9 games left, they need to win every possible big game that they should be taking. Those are the standings there. Do you think your team will make a Champions League finish? Who will you think are going to be the top 4 to make Champions League? Who will just miss out on it this year? Who do you think will be relegated? Do you think the bottom 3 will be who's there now, or will another team end up dropping in and another team saving themselves? Be sure to let me know down below. Before we get into the games of round 30, we do have 2 makeup games on this Wednesday, April 7th, both at 12:45. One match from round 28, which is Inter Sassuolo, and the other all the way from round 3 is Juve Napoli. So 2 big games. Inter could go 11 points up on Milan if they win and earn their 10th straight Serie A victory. But then again, it wouldn't really be 10 straight if you depends which way you look at it. Actually, it could be, yes, because this is round 29. Never mind. It will be 10 straight. While Juve Napoli looking for a 5th straight victory, and Juve want to try to find some form and somehow mount a title race, which I don't think will happen. but it could really help Pirlo keep his job at least till the end of the season. But we'll see what happens to that, because anything of not Champions League will be a huge failure for Juventus. How do you think those games will go? I'm ready to hear your thoughts on those. Now moving on to round 30. We're going back to the regular scheduled time slots in this sense. April 10th, which is Saturday, 9 a.m. Spezia Crotone, huge battle at the bottom. Spezia looking more safe, but the win for them would be crucial. And just keep pulling away, and sure, they're not really dragged into a relegation battle. While Crotone, a win for them would still keep them last, but it would put the pressure on Parma. Because if they can get some wins, Crotone, they could potentially escape relegation, but it would be very tough for them, anyways. Again, last time around they did make their comeback around this time, but it would be a very tough ask for them. But it depends how well Simi does and his scoring run right now. Also, Simi does have the most goals since the beginning of March out of the top 5 leagues, so that is saying something. 12 p.m. we have Parma, Milan. Now Milan want to continue their huge run of form away from home and to take care of this struggling Parma. Last time they did tie Parma at the San Siro, but that was back when they're in their undefeated run, and not like they had the poor home run anyways. But Parma did beat the Roma last time out at home, so they hope to maybe surprise the Rossoneri as well. But it could be a tough ask for Milan, but they should pull away with this. But anything can happen in Serie A nowadays, right? 2:45, we have Udinese Torino. Another big battle here at the bottom. Torino need these 3 points to pull away from Cagliari, especially with their game in hand as well. Udinese are pretty much safe, you could say. They are 11 points ahead of Cagliari, but they would like to stay on a positive run, pick up points when they can. But Torino, after playing very well against Juve, will hope to carry that momentum into this game against Luca Gotti's men. April 11th onto the Sunday, we have Inter Cagliari opening up the Sunday. Inter should pull away this. Cagliari have struggled as of late under new coach Semplice. I always get mixed up with that. But anyways, they are have not won in their last 4 with 3 straight defeats. Inter on a huge run as of late. I do see Inter playing away with this one, especially at the San Siro. So huge result for Inter, most likely incoming, but still anything. Cagliari could pull a few surprises and perhaps shock Antonio Conte's men, but this should be a win for Inter. 9 a.m. we have 3 matches. We have Juventus Genoa, Sampdoria Napoli, and Verona Lazio. So now each of these teams, Juve, Napoli, and Lazio, want to pick up victories here, continue on pace, and get that top 4. Now we'll see how the standings do shape up after Juventus Napoli, but still huge runs against these teams would be huge. Genoa are probably safe, but they want to try get something out of a struggling Juventus side. And considering what Benevento did too at the Allianz Stadium, they hope to do the same as well. Genoa, yes, have been a bit inconsistent as of late, but they can definitely surprise a few squads going into this game, so watch out for them. Sampdoria are always a tricky side, and Quagliarella always causing his former Napoli side some issues here. So Ranieri's side could cause Gattuso's men some issues, but Napoli are in such fine form they could come away with this. But again, Sampdoria are very tough to play against, so they do have to be wary going to the Marassi. And Verona have not been as consistent as of late, 2 wins in their last 5. So they hope to shake things up against Lazio and perhaps pull away with the victory here. While Lazio want to keep going to see if they can get into that top 4 finish and going into the Champions League. 12 p.m. we have Roma Bologna. Roma want to pick up a win to try to get back into the top 4 after sliding out as of late. It will be tough again, as they do have they're the only team with European competition, and they play on Thursday, so it is very tough for them with only always a 2 days break in between. But Mihailovic's Bologna will look to get a result against a struggling Roma and may change their fortunes around a bit. 3 losses in their last 5, so hoping to surprise the Giallorossi and just continue a good mid-table run for them for the rest of the season. Ending off round 30 at 2:45 is Fiorentina Atalanta. Now Fiorentina very inconsistent. We did have Iachini return to the helms of the Viola for this last round too, so he picked up a draw against Genoa, but we'll see how he does against a vibrant Atalanta side who does love to score at will here. Still the top scoring side in Serie A this season. Can Gasperini take advantage of a struggling Fiorentina, or will La Viola even pull away with a result here? Who really knows? Lots to play for in that game. Anyways, those are round 30. What do you guys think? What are the results going to be? How do you think the recovery matches will be on Wednesday between Inter Sassuolo and Juventus and Napoli? Be sure to comment below, let me know. If you haven't already done so, be sure to follow us on Twitter, Calcio_Bros, for matchday updates, team news, and any other thoughts that we have. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Click the bell to receive notifications on all our latest videos. And we hope to hear from you guys soon. Ciao!